Hello everybody, welcome to part 2 of our sandcastle art. So what you will need, gather your supplies, is your paintbrush, some water, and some kind of napkin or rag to clean off your paint. So I just want to show you really quick before we start the colors I have here. You're able to choose any colors you like. Okay, you don't have to do the same colors I have here. And we're going to start painting from our background to our middle ground and then to our foreground. And the reason why I'm working from the back to the front is so that way when we're painting and our hands are going over the foreground and middle ground, we won't get that all on our arm. But again, you can start where you like to start. Okay, so I'm just gonna open this here. And I'm gonna move this out of the way because I wanna show you how we paint, because it's important how we use our watercolors. See if I can get this. Here we go. And my rag. Okay, so I'm gonna start with the blue. Now, I'm gonna just make a little puddle here. The reason why I'm making a little puddle is that way I gather some paint, because if it's too dry, my paint is gonna be too dark, and I don't want it that dark. I wanna be able to control the color. So you'll see if it's watery, it's lighter. So that's why I make a slight puddle. I'm not digging my paint. I'm not scraping my paint. I'm just tapping it and able to get some more water, because I want my sky to be a nice blue. And I'm not really going in any particular direction with the paint, because it's okay if my sky is light and has some forms of white in the sky, like some darker blues, as you can see here. And I just really push that paint around. Just really pushing that paint around. Just really getting in there. So the more water I use, the lighter the color will be. And for the sky, I am going sideways, as you can see there. So less paint I'm using, the lighter my sky. Okay, and even if it has some of these little whites and darks, it really shows up in there. And as you can see, watercolor, sometimes when you use a lot of water or too much water, your paper will start to curl at the ends, but that's okay, because when it dries, you lay it flat, you can put something heavy on top of it, and then your painting will eventually be flat. But because we're using water, it does tend to curl. So I used a lot of water up here because I wanted a lighter sky. But for my water here, my ocean, I should say, I'm not gonna use that much water because I want it to be a little bit darker. And remember, I'm not digging or scraping at my paint, I'm just tapping. And it's already wet because I made a little puddle there. So you can see I'm not putting my brush so much in the water anymore. Now, if you feel like a little bit got over here, all you have to do is wipe it away. Watercolor is nice like that. You can just wipe it away. So there's a few things you can do here. You can continue painting your middle ground and then the foreground and then go back to paint your boat. Or we can just go ahead and paint that boat now since we're already in this area. So I do not know what color I want. Maybe I'm gonna choose purple. I might pick some purple for my boat. Remember, puddle. It helps to pick up and loosen up that paint. This is a really nice watercolor paint. If you want your paint to be darker, I typically like to paint light, but if you wanted it to be darker, don't use so much water. You see that? I'm making it darker by not using too much water. Okay, and I can let it dry and go back over that if I wanted it even darker. So you can pause the video again at any time. All right, so I think the second thing we should do is start on this sand color. So the sand color is interesting. I'm making a puddle here, okay, because we have this brown, and I think I want my sand to look kind of lighter, but again, it's up to you. So if I go too dark, and you can actually go right over those lines because it's all sand. All you have to do is add more water. Look at that. I'm going right over all those lines. I'm going right over those lines. And I'm going up and down. Whoops. There you go. Okay. I'm going to go sideways. So when you have a patch like this, all you have to do is go over it with some water. And it really gets rid of those lines. Just go right over it with some extra water. See that? I didn't even touch the paint. I just went in and got some more water. That's all I did. So the water saves us, but if we use too much water and not enough paint, we're just making puddles, and we don't want puddles. So if you have a puddle, let me make a puddle. If you have a puddle of paint, let's say you have a puddle, okay? What you want to do is push that puddle aside. Keep pushing it any direction. It's okay if it gets in other areas that you didn't want it to go into, because we can get it out with water. Okay, so you see that? That's a puddle. But I am going to add more water and push it. I like to say we're pushing the paint on the sides. See there? I'm just gonna go back over mine here. I want up here to be a little bit darker. And it's nice to have the light, medium, and dark. Look at this. So you have light, medium, and then darker areas where under the pails a little darker, under here's a little lighter. Because when we look at the beach, it kind of has these different tones of beiges, right? So I'm gonna go in this corner. Do not worry if it gets too dark in some places. That's okay. So sometimes when I'm using watercolor, you can see how I just push that paint around, okay? So I think I'm gonna stop there with the brown because I wanna get to my bowl before I go to my pail. So I'm gonna just continue to paint this bowl. I think I'm gonna go with a little color theme here, and I'm gonna use that purple again. So because my watercolor paper is starting to bubble, I'm gonna hold it down. Or you can just tape it to the side if that's better for you. But you can see my hand here. I am holding it down. And it needed a little bit more water. I'm just being really careful around those sides. And I'm adding some more water to the paint that's already there. I'm not picking up more paint. So if you get any paint outside of your lines and that really bothers you, you can wash it off, wash your brush off. And with a clean brush, just go in and wipe the side. And there you have it. Okay, so that's one color. Let's see what color do I want over here. Maybe I'll go. So here we have the red and the green, but I think I want something different. Maybe yellow. I'm gonna make another puddle. Now you really get the idea. Okay. So you can see that I started off with a pretty deep brown there, but what I did was I just kept adding some more water to really spread that out. So you can really get the idea of how this works here. Does not have to be perfect. And we want the different shades of brown because it's sand. So around here, you can always go back over with a light marker or a pencil or a pen to get your lines back if you happen to paint over them. Sometimes it's just easier to paint over it than it is to try to go around them. So usually when we think we made a mistake, we really didn't. We just have to keep going, right? So if I have this little puddle, I am just gonna keep pushing. Keep pushing the water out of the puddle. So it's like you're sweeping away the puddle. Sweep that puddle away. Sweep it away if you have a puddle. Keep sweeping. And so I'm gonna go in there with a little bit of brown. Keep sweeping. And there you have it. Oh, we forgot our seashell. Okay, so, okay, good. So I'm gonna clean my brush, and I think I'm gonna make my seashell this color. Let's see. See how that's gonna look. A little pink. So you can make your seashells any color you like. And if anything is too light, if you feel like your painting is too light and you want to go darker, this is a good time to go back over those areas. I like it light, but then again, somebody might want it darker. So here's a good time just to pick up some more paint and go over a little bit to make it darker. And you can see here I'm using less water. So that's the trick to making it darker, is using less water. Okay, so choose your colors and have fun with it. Okay, pause the video at any time or rewind. I hope you have fun. Send me any pictures of your work. I would love to see how it all turned out. So I hope you had fun. Here are the two final pieces. Thank you for joining Art Mixture Studio. Bye.